Greetings, my fellow freedom loving lovers of sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida, and today's date, Saturday, May 14th, 2016. Yes, I said, what the hell? Let me do another show, 2 shows in one day. I just, itching a few areas that I just been checking out on. I can thank everyone from Facebook, Twitter, and all those little great social media websites sharing this information, and it got me itching to do another show or episode, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so mainly it'd be a couple things. Be mainly 9/11 and terrorism is profitable. Of course, Trump confirmed he's going to Israel. Oh, is he one of their Israeli bellboys? And of course, the minimum wage bust, which is blowbacking in people's faces. So, but we'll just take everything by steps, and let's see how long this show would run. And of course, I'm going to focus on another band that was local, and then one of the musicians did with some famous acts as well. So I'll be playing that song. So hold on, head on back, relax, and have a brew, water, iced tea. It doesn't matter. Kick back, enjoy. I know many of you may hate my voice, but what the hell, right? Exactly. But it's okay. So first thing we're going to be hitting off will be from alternate.org. And it says here, 9/11 Commissioner leaks damning new info. Saudi government officials supported the hijackers. It is by Travis Geddes from Raw Story. And it's interesting. I'm not a big fan of Raw Story in general. However, they have their pros and cons like everyone else. That's why I always tell my listeners and supporters, always observe responsibly. So, let's see what he has to say here. The 9/11 hijackers had support from Saudi government employees, said a former Republican official who investigated the attacks. And he wants the Obama administration to release evidence to prove it. What it took so long, I don't know. If it was his buddy George W. Bush, it may be different. You know how the partisan politics is, like a tennis ping pong ball, table tennis, right? All right. John Lehman, an investment banker, and Navy secretary in the Reagan administration, said his fellow 9/11 commission members had helped to obscure Saudi links to the 2001 terrorist attacks, reported The Guardian. There was an awful lot of participation by Saudi individuals in supporting the hijackers, and some of those people who worked in the Saudi government. Lehman told the newspaper, our report should never have been read as an exoneration of Saudi Arabia. Whoa, really? What took you, Yahoo, so long? Okay, continue on here. Lehman and the other commission members have called for the release of the 28 classified pages of the final report, which officially implicates Saudi Arabia as a primary source of al-Qaeda funding, but stops short of accusing the government of funding the terrorist organizations. Can we say, scapegoating? Yes, don't be surprised if Saudi Arabia is not the only ones, or the Saudi government that's the only ones that's funding al-Qaeda. Remember, many people say al-Qaeda, which is also known as, new name, latest name, ISIS. So think about that, my friends. So who kicked off who? All right. The 9/11 Commission chairman, New Jersey Governor Tom Keene, a Republican and vice chairman, former Representative Lee Hamilton, an Indiana Democrat, praised Saudi Arabia as an ally against terrorism. What a wet dream. But Lehman complained the commission had implicated only one Saudi official, a former diplomat posted in Los Angeles. They may not have been indicted, but they were certainly implicated, Lehman said. There was an awful lot of circumstantial evidence. Oh, really? He has no evidence suggested involvement in the plot by the Saudi royal family or the country's senior civilian leadership, but Lehman said commissioners focused on links between the hijackers and the Saudi Ministry of Islamic Affairs. Lehman said in the infamous 28-page document would demonstrate those links and said they should be made public immediately, although he said the names of some Saudi suspects should be redacted because they were later cleared of wrongdoing. Other commission members have called for those documents, which have been reviewed by some lawmakers, to be released, even if doing so damaged the commission's legacy, the newspaper reported. I think we were tough on the Saudis, but obviously not tough enough, said one commissioner, who asked to remain anonymous to avoid offending his former colleagues. think I know why too, because he's afraid he might get killed. And you know what? The more people are learning about this monumental lie. So he should have the balls to come out and say, "The hell with you parasites." I know some members of the staff felt we went much too easy on the Saudis. I didn't really know the extent of it until after the report came out. The commissioners members clashed with executive director Philip Zelikow, a historian who later worked as a senior advisor to Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, which I call her Mrs. Kermit the Frog with that face. She's very intelligent too, so she may speak different languages. She may have talent, but is she a dirty player too? Yeah, in good faith, based on what I observe from her rhetoric, yes. But she's a patsy as well, okay? So I will say that respectfully. Over the final report's presentation of material implicating the Saudis, two investigators who examined Saudi involvement were furious that the material was edited out entirely or relegated to footnotes. And Zelikow fired one staffer who clashed with him over the Saudi investigation after she obtained a 28-page report outside of official channels, reported The Guardian. Obama said last month, after returning from an official visit to Saudi Arabia, that his administration would soon decide whether to release the 28-page excerpt. Zelikow told NBC last month that releasing the classified excerpt would only make the red herring grow redder and provide nothing that wasn't already in the final report. Lehman and at least one of his colleagues disagree. Contrary to the argument advocated by the kingdom, the 9/11 Commission did not exonerate Saudi Arabia of culpability for the events on 11th of September 2001 or the financing of Al-Qaeda. Lehman said in an affidavit he filed last month to press for the document's release. So I am looking at it this way. It's the hot potato game. Whoever is the last person to hold the hot potato will be the scapegoat, the patsy. Blame it on them only. And don't get me wrong, I am not surprised if the members of the Saudi government are involved with the 9/11 Commission, with 9/11 attacks. They're just an example. Like I said before in my past episodes, they are part of the New World Order or One World Order umbrella. Okay, so you're going to be going after Israel as well, or you're going to be going after Dickhead Cheney or Jorge W. Bush. The list can go on and on and on. How about Donald Rumsfeld? How about Condoleezza Rice? You be going after them too? This is what we got to think about, my friends. This is nothing more, like I said, a hot potato game. Let's pick a fall guy, because I'll say this respectfully. The 9/11 truth movement is getting stronger every day. And many people thought I was crazy 14 years ago when I made that announcement on September 14th, 2001, that 9/11 was on a New World Order agenda. And many have thought I was crazy, but not anymore. They thank me for sticking to my guns. They're not there to kiss my butt by any means. I'm not here to toot my horn as well. But this is what's been happening, and now they are scared crapless. 1963 is over, my friends. I remember one time when, We Are Change? They had extra footage. It was the second edition, when some of the guys who was with Jason Bermas, some New York cop was giving him harassing the crap out of him about how come you're out here, why are you doing this, and so forth, passing out this information. And as I recall, I'm paraphrasing, one of his colleagues told to the cop, the ones who killed Kennedy killed them. The officer was pretty damn quiet. That's why I believe, too, my friends, the ones who killed John F. Kennedy are the same bastards who is responsible for this horrific event. Not just affect the United States, but the entire world. And right now, these folks are running scared. We are whipping their behinds in the information war, especially on September 11, 2001. I'd like to thank everyone for making this happen. Doesn't pass. The ones who are not around, like William Cooper, may his soul be forever free, and all the freedom-loving sovereign thinkers out there taking the initiative on doing their homework, looking at the bigger picture. Doesn't matter if you're an artist, into geopolitics, and philosophers, etc., musicians. Everyone's putting their share in. And this is why I'm like ecstatic but I'm not going to point it all at one particular group. It's a lot bigger than what it is, my friends. And it was interesting because I did add that as a signature when on my one of my old past website email addresses on September 14, 2001. I wrote on the death to terrorism, corruption, and a new world order, so we can ensure true peace, security, and spiritual prosperity. And plus, a week after, September 18th, a week after this horrific event, there's this thing called BlackTuesday.net, and I put my full name on there, Craig L. Tote, with and my email address at that time. I think it was like 1,320, something like that. I don't know. But I remember I made that statement quoting that the United States is united in every four. If they want true unity, we need to honor it by protecting our Bill of Rights culture rather than giving it up for security. Then I made that quote again, that the terrorism, corruption, and new world order, so we can ensure true peace, security, and spiritual prosperity. If that was a government surveillance website, I didn't give a damn. I told it like it is, in my own point of view. This is why I'm infuriated at what happened, but it inspires me to keep moving, not giving up, not talking about this. And I know in my show, I'm always, I will use multiple areas. However, I'm just seeing right now they're running scared. However, all the 9/11 truth is out there. Wherever you're at, we gotta remain vigilant. Period. Keep going until the daggers. We stop using the spears against our adversaries. Good book to read, Sons of the Art of War. And next one here came from reader-supported-news.org. It's like more of a viewpoint called Focus. Why do we keep learning new secrets about 9/11? It's by Charles Pierce, Esquire. Pierce writes, the pointless alleged cover-up of the role of the Saudi nationals in the attacks of September 11, 2001 is starting to come just a little bit unraveled. The Guardian had a provocative piece quoting John Lehman, a Republican member of the 9/11 Commission and former Secretary of Navy under Ronald Reagan, to the effect that the investigation essentially buried the question of the Saudi involvement. Salman talks to the media during a meeting with U.S. President Barack Obama in the Oval Office. This on September 4th, 2015. That's just a photo. And these guys look pathetic, man. Like look at Barry Soetoro. He's like, yeah, I'm a bend over Bob as well. How's your rectum feel? A lot wider than last time? I'm just being sarcastic here, but I'm saying it on a symbolic sense. There are allegedly more Saudi officials implicated in the 9/11 report than we thought. The pointless alleged cover-up the role of the Saudi nationals in the attacks of September 11, 2001 is starting to come up just a little bit unraveled. The Guardian had a provocative piece. Yep, sorry, I'm repeating myself here. Don't worry about it. I'm just improvising. The Guardian had a provocative piece quoting John Lehman, a Republican member of the 9/11 Commission and the former Secretary of Navy under Ronald Reagan, to the effect that the investigation essentially buried the question of the Saudi involvement. There was an awful lot of participation in the Saudis individuals in supporting the hijackers, and some of those people worked in the Saudi government. Lehman said in an interview suggesting that the commission may have made a mistake by not stating that the explicitity in its final report. Our report should have never been read as an exoneration of Saudi Arabia. He was critical of the statement released late last month by the former chairman and vice chairman of the commission, who urged the Obama administration to be cautious about releasing full congressional report on Saudi and 9/11 to 28 pages, as they are widely known in Washington, but they contained raw, unvetted material that might smear innocent people. I, for one, didn't know that the Saudi diplomat had been implicated in the support network on which some of the hijackers depended while living in San Diego. Why is Fahad al-Thamari walking around free while shoeless losers who fall for FBI stings get shipped off to the nether regions of the federal penal system? But Lehman wasn't finished yet. In an interview Wednesday, Lehman said Keene and Hamilton's statement that only one Saudi government employee was implicated in supporting the hijackers in California and elsewhere was a game of semantics. That the commission had been aware of at least 5 Saudi government officials who were strongly suspected of involvement in the terrorist support network. They may not have been indicted, but they were certainly implicated, he said. Was an awful lot of circumstantial evidence. Looks like I'm repeating myself here, but that's okay. Yep, what the hell? I'll just finish it off here. Allegedly, there was a considerable brawl within the commission about how material concerning Saudi involvement was being handled. At the center of it was Director Philip Zelikow, whose previous job was an aide to Condoleezza Rice back in the days that he was proven to be the worst national security advisor ever. This was always stuck in my craw, and if the stone wall's falling down, then that's all to the good. Zelikow, a fired staffer who repeatedly protested over limitations of the Saudi investigation after she obtained a copy of the 28 pages outside of official channels. Other staffers described an angry scene late one night near the end of the investigation when 2 investigators who focused on the Saudi allegations were forced to rush back to the commissioner's office after midnight after learning to their astonishment that some of the most compelling evidence about the Saudi tie to 9/11 was being edited out of the report or was being pushed to tiny, barely readable footnotes and endnotes. The staff protests were mostly overruled. The crime against history is ongoing, but it does seem we're edging a little closer to solving it. And that is, I can say in good faith, Mr. Pierce is correct on that. This is why, like I said before, we got to keep plugging away. And I know guys like We Are Change, 9/11 Truth, many other organizations are really pushing this. And it doesn't matter if it's AE, 9/11 Truth, or Judy Woods on how the towers fell. We all have one thing in common, my friends, that the official story is nothing more than a monumental deception. So this is why I was like I said before, I'm enjoying this every moment. And there's even a claim that the CIA may release some pages. This is according to Infowars.com. I was listening to some of the podcasts early, like the episode that happened yesterday. But like I said, I'm not having high expectations. We have to find out how accurate is it. That is the key, my friends. And look what happened. It's an excuse, 24/7 excuse for everything. And they say our freedoms are gone. I say hell no, because you were born with them and is inherited to your children, grandchildren, etc. Even your enemies, petty ones, have those inalienable rights as well of freedom. So don't forfeit, don't roll over, don't be their damn doormat. I've been stressing this for all these years. The government needs us more, we need them. This is why 9/11, 2001, the horrific events that happened in mainly the northeast region of the states, including Virginia, has to be exposed. So this is what I'm examining thoroughly all this for years. And like I say, there's some people out there still want to learn. People I just met. They want to get to know me more in this area, which I do appreciate it. I'm ready. I want them to pick my brain because in good faith. But everywhere I go, even in South Florida, believe it or not, I chat with people all around South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. You know what? People are learning this. If you're hanging out at the same facility with the one-dimensional fools, you be the idiot as well. So you have to go out there, explore, talk to people. But doesn't mean you got to talk about your personal life. None of their damn business. But something like this is vital. And I'm just real curious if these pages will be released, how accurate it is. But I'll guarantee you one thing, my friends. Don't put the full blame on the Saudi government. It's a lot bigger than what it is. Like I said before, New World Order agenda. And I have no shame of saying it. Wish I was wrong. I can tell you that. And what happens? I was right. And I'm not the only one that thinks that way. All right. Well, next one here came from truthout.org by Mark Carlin. Terrorism is profitable for U.S. weapons manufacturer. And I like what it says here on his speech by General Eisenhower. War is robbery. Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger are not fed, of those who are cold and not clothed. The world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of its laborers, the genius of its scientists, the hopes of its children. This is not a way of life at all in any true sense. Under the cloud of threatening war is humanity hanging from a cross of iron. That was President Dwight D. Eisenhower, Supreme Allied Commander, World War II, chance for peace speech in 1953. He may have some rough edges, but he has a conscience too. That's things I'm not too keen about, but I have to say I commend that quote. So this is, in the absence of newly declared war, how would the military-industrial complex prosper without terrorism? The National Priorities Project recently sent out an email with the subject line, "Terrorism means business if you're a defense contractor." The message bluntly states, if you're a defense contractor, terrorism means business, and business is good. According to recent reports, the corporate defense behemoth, Lockheed Martin's revenue rose 15.7% and share rose 1.5%. Following the news that President Obama was committing an additional 250 troops in Syria. All hail to an empire! Lockheed Martin was a big federal contract in 2014, pulling more than $32 billion in federal contracts, including $25 billion in Pentagon contracts. Its federal haul makes it practically an honorary state. In fact, the project states that the contracts received by Lockheed Martin in 2014 exceeds federal grants allotted to each individual state, with the exceptions of the high population states of California, New York, and Texas. In a blog entry of the National Priorities Project site, Research Director Lindsay Kashgarian states Lockheed and its defense industry companions have made enough profits from taxpayer dollars. It's past time to show them that terrorism doesn't pay. The project email brought to mind a March Los Angeles Times article which reveals CIA armed militias are shooting at Pentagon armed ones in Syria. Yes, two major halves of the U.S. war machine were backing anti-Assad factions who were fighting each other with the United States supplied arms. Syrian militias armed by different parts of the U.S. war machine have begun to fight each other on the plains between the besieged city of Aleppo and the Turkish border, highlighting how little control U.S. intelligence officers and military planners have over the groups they have financed and trained in the bitter 5-year-old civil war. The fighting has intensified over the past 2 months as CIA armed units and Pentagon armed ones have repeatedly shot at each other as they have maneuvered through contested territory on the northern outskirts of Aleppo. U.S. officials and rebel leaders have confirmed. In mid-February, a CIA armed militia called Fruzan al-Haq, or Knights of Righteousness, was run out of town of Maria, about 20 miles north of Aleppo, by Pentagon-backed Syrian Democratic forces moving in from Turkish-controlled areas to the east. The rest of the Los Angeles Times article describes a maelstrom of chaotic U.S. involvement in conflict that appears more like a circling firing squad than a strategic military effort. Not only is the U.S. involvement in the Syrian army to be laminated, it appears to resemble a Three Stooges segment at times. Yes, terrorism is good for armaments industry. In today's edition of Truth Out, Garth Porter documents that the U.S. is still backing forces working with Al-Qaeda in Syria. The gradual erosion of the ceasefire in Syria over the past month is a result of multiple factors shaping the conflict, but one of the underlying reasons is the Obama administration's failure to carry out its commitment to Russia to get U.S.-supported opposition groups to separate themselves physically from the Nusra Front, the Al-Qaeda organization in Syria. The administration's vacillation on the issues reflect the reality that the U.S.-supported armed opposition has no intention to withdraw from its close military collaboration with Nusra Front. It also reflects deep divisions within the U.S. administration over Syria policy. Obama has leaned toward working with Russia on a ceasefire as an alternative to reliance on the armed opposition to put pressure on Bashar al-Assad, but senior officials in the Pentagon, CIA, and U.S. Department remain strongly committed to ramping up military assistance to anti-Assad forces. Meanwhile, Secretary of State John Kerry continues to dangle out the hope of a permanent ceasefire for the umpteenth time. Of course, the Syrian calamity is further exacerbated by the U.S. and NATO effort to defeat ISIS, also known as Daesh. One of the challenges in retaliation to ISIS is its forces are very well armed in large part because they have seized U.S. weapons from overrunning Iraqi army positions. All of this must, as a national priorities project, make the arms manufacturer elated to see terrorism literally pay in terms of profits and multi-dollar contracts from the Pentagon and CIA. After all, the absence of new declared wars for the moment. How will the military-industrial intelligence complex prosper without the so-called war on terrorism? In the war on terror, one often can't tell if the U.S. is intentionally creating terrorism or just ineptly wasting taxpayers' dollars so corporations can profit, militarized bureaucracies can flourish. There's money to be made in terrorism. All right, lots of it. It makes you wonder if our government's goal is to eliminate terrorism or to perpetuate it. Oh, yeah, that's some strong words there by Mr. Carlin. As like I said before, the war on terror is a conflagration against its people, or the war with ourselves. When George W. Bush made that announcement on the war on terror, I thought the people, and they thought I was crazy again. I'm not here to toot my horn, my friends. I apologize. Nothing like that at all. But I do really find it infuriating. They try to con a con man. One thing I tell folks, you got to study patterns, history as well. Then you can figure this out really damn quick. And that's why I think people may have to stop, do a protest, not pay their taxes, do exemptions on their W-2 forms, because there's a claim that income tax is voluntary. All right, so do your homework. But definitely, my friends, this is unacceptable. This is fascistic to the core. We don't need to be an empire. We need to be a constitutional republic. And you should ask every candidate, especially on the federal level, who's running for a House, Senate, and even the presidency, ask them, will you denounce the United States of America as a federal corporation? If they start to babble, tell them to get the hell out. You're contaminating space. We don't need you or your kind. I would say that. And the question about the United States being a federal corporation, I'll repeat it again. Title 28, U.S. Code, Section 3002, subsection 15. Or you can go to my past archive, United States Corporation, the big question mark. It was like probably December of 2013. Yeah, it's like my early episodes. But definitely, my friends, we got to resist this. No more imperialism. End the war on terror immediately. All right, next one here is from yournewswire.com. Came out a few days ago. Donald Trump confirms that he will visit Israel soon. Is by Edmondo Burr. Israel National News reports his confirmation came after the Trump campaign on Monday denied and Marav Arviv report last Friday, according to which he will visit Israel, Russia, and Germany after the convention. A close advisor to Trump was cited in the report as saying the trip was meant to improve his image, to keep him more abreast of foreign affairs. But the real estate mogul's spokesperson, Hope Hicks, denied the report as not true. However, in an interview with Israel Hayman, published on Wednesday ahead of Israeli Independence Day, Trump confirmed the report. When asked by journalist Boaz Bismuth I heard you're going to visit us soon before the election. Trump responded, yes, I will be coming to Israel soon. The Republican candidate did not elaborate further. Trump had scheduled a visit to Israel for late last December, but postponed it in a few days before it was to take place following an uproar over his proposal to temporarily bar all Muslims from entering the U.S. until better security measures were in place. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in response, rejected Trump's remarks in an official statement, and in response, Trump said on Twitter that he was rescheduling his meeting with Netanyahu for a later date after I become president of the United States. Well, let's see how far this goes. Trump last month told Jewish Insider that he postponed the trip because Netanyahu said something that wasn't as positive as I would have liked, and I canceled it. I did not particularly like his statement. In the Israel Hayom interview published Wednesday, Trump said, I just wanted to say that my support for Israel is great and strong, and I have always loved the Israeli nation. I have many friends in Israel. We will ensure that the situation in Israel will be very good and will remain that way forever. He also criticizes U.S. President Barack Obama's controversial nuclear deal with Iran last July, saying the current threat against Israel is more important than ever because of President Obama's policy towards Iran and the nuclear deal. I think the people of Israel have suffered a lot because of Obama. Trump has recently made numerous expressions of support for the Jewish state. One of his advisors last Wednesday said he will not pressure Israel into concessions, as Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton would likely do. Earlier last week, Trump supported Israel's right to build in Judea and Samaria. And last Wednesday, he told a Haredi magazine that violence towards Israel is a violence towards us. Oh my goodness. What would John Jay and George Washington have to say about that? Even if you heard my past episodes, you know what to do. Nothing wrong creating relationships with other countries and so forth, but foreign aid, I am not impressed. The question is for Mr. Trump, will you be bending over for the state of Israel? Or he's going to shake their hand in good faith? Something you got to think about, my friends. And I know there's a lot of dirty laundry that the criminal elements in the Israeli government, past and present, let's say criminal elements, have to question. Nothing against the people of Israel. We got to really pay attention to what's going on. But for Donald Trump, you better not be another apple polisher to the one world order, because it will be exposed. I know a lot of people, a lot of the so-called Jewish bankers, their claims they don't like the man. People went after him. That's the biggest mistake, scapegoating one person. We don't need more politicians or lawyers. It really hurt our nation as far as I'm concerned. Look at some of the clowns you got in there now, right? So that's all I got to say about Mr. Trump. How far it's going to go, how accurate his actions will be. I am not a Trump supporter, but I'm not going to go Trump bashing every time and be leveled at everyone else in the mainstream parties. But one thing I got to say, my friends, we got to find out how far this will go and see if he'd be a man of integrity on honorable foreign relations. I think you should talk to Ron Paul about that, Mr. Trump, on foreign policies. You should do that. Definitely call him up. The reason why you're making so much impact right now, because people knew what happened to Ron Paul. The idiots in the GOP try to think of him as a guy who should wear a dunce hat. That's why the GOP is in deep crap. So are the Democrats as well. But let's see how far you go. The world is watching you, Mr. Trump. You want to visit Israel? Great. But if you're going to be bending over for Mossad or the part of the New World Order network, you will be exposed. And I don't need to do anything. You do a great job on your own. So make sure your actions speak louder than words. Finally, came out a couple of days ago. Oh, it actually came out yesterday. Ron Paul report. Says here, minimum wage blowback. Wendy's to put kiosk in all 6,000 restaurants. It's funny they have a McDonald's photo on here, so people did notice that, which is I did to me myself. This is by Chris Roncini. When government uses force, people and companies adapt. No one likes to be a punching bag. When the health bullies tax or fix a high price on cigarettes or marijuana, people do their business on the black market. They still get their cigarettes, they still get their marijuana. Hey, that's a fact. If a government says companies must say pay someone $15 an hour no matter what, companies adjust. First, they will let go of the employee that are not providing not enough that are not productive enough or skilled enough to earn $15 an hour. Companies will also consolidate the task. For example, if someone was being paid $8 an hour to sweep the floor, that person would be fired, and A, either the floor will be swept and won't be swept at all, or B, someone else will just add the job to their list of responsibilities. Hey, can you say reconfigure? Companies will not pay $15 an hour for an $8 an hour task just because government tells them. Government can go pound sand. This hurts all individuals that can't earn $15 an hour at the moment. Now their chances of getting hired to do anything dwindle to zero. They must go out, fill out their unemployment forms instead of working. If government forces companies to unjustifiably pay $15 an hour for employees, the incentives to automate skyrockets. Wendy's is yet another example of a company that is moving to automation. They are putting self-kiosk in all 6,000 restaurants by the end of this year. Blowback is not reserved for government's insane foreign policy. It also occurs with bonehead domestic interventions as well. Employers who are earning their market rate will now be laid off and will earn nothing. They can thank government help. Abolish the minimum wage. I have to say this. That's why I wasn't never really too keen about the $15 an hour mandatory ordinance or laws. The truth of the matter is, my friends, one, you got to look at these restaurants, these companies' budgets. Okay? That's the key. Got to work with their budget. Two, $50 an hour still has no value. It's all printed out thin air. We got to fix the money, not raise it. Fix it. Go back to the fiduciary notes. Honor Executive Order 11,110, signed by John F. Kennedy, that the Department of U.S. Treasury handles the money and tells the Federal Reserve, happy trails. I know I repeated it a few times, but you have to realize that. So this is why I like to see people make $15 an hour. Don't get me wrong, but it has to be earned. You have to have merit. If you're going to shove things down people's throats, it's going to backfire. And I'm not a big fan of these fast food restaurants. Like Wendy's, to me, is a want, not a need. You're going to make it worse for these folks. Okay? And that's a real shame. That's why, my friends, educate yourselves. Hey, you should try to see if they're gonna have a kiosk maintenance department at Wendy's. Work on that. Know your skills. The more you know, the better you be. The better you survive. So this is why I look at my father and everyone else have multi-talented skills. You won't be disappointed. You'll feel better. If you just rely on one job, it's going to shoot yourself in the foot because you never know. But it's a real shame, my friends. Stuff like this always happens. What are you going to blame it on capitalism? Hell no. Don't blame it on capitalism. Neo-mercantilism kills the economy. Good example. Look at Detroit, Michigan. Neo-mercantilism and globalism hurt Detroit big time. Start learning the facts. That's all I have to say. And I did put that stuff in my past archives. I don't know what episode, but look it up. You won't be disappointed. You can thank me later on. Hey, send me stuff too. I'll thank you. All right, my friends, that is all for now. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this episode, plus feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, compliments, love letters, hate letters, or anything that's interesting that I should check out, would be great. However, please send your comments on all forms with decorum. And whatever you do, don't send me stuff that you're trying to have me buy. It'll be flushed down the toilet. All right. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, Freedoms Network, and Scene.life. Or you can email me at LokiLuck3@gmail.com. Before I go, I want to play a song from some good friends of mine, long time in the South Florida music scene. It's called Amboog-A-Lard. This song can relate to this subject matter, what I've addressed. I can say this. Many of the members, Jordy White, also known as Trigger Ramirez from Marilyn Manson, and I believe he still does play with Nine Inch Nails and maybe does other musical works. Good guy. I'm proud of him. He's living the dream and visualizing at the same time. And always give all my brothers and sisters out there the best on being successful and enjoy what they do. So it's a great song by Amboog-A-Lard, Edge of Darkness. It's a demo, and I support these guys a long time. And it's great to see them really doing well, or him doing well. And I know George Koukouris, good friend of mine. I love him to death. He's at peace now with the Lord and all that, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not anti-Christian, but very spiritual guy. We still have some great conversations. So, and hopefully the rest of the guys in the band, former bandmates and so forth, are doing well. And I know Bob, he's a preacher now in Miramar. Good man. Love him. But it's always great to see people fulfill their destinies, their visions. And I'd like to thank them for putting this stuff out. Great songs that made South Florida, gave a great South Florida music scene history. And it still lives today. All right. Once again, I thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.
Misery to undermine. for himself. The pounding thoughts of lost innocence. The judge's gone to hell. In the mind of man, what you mistaken your right to be. Hatred, corruption. You